It was just another race day at Silver Creek until a wild Mustang named Whisper staggered onto the track, carrying Annie Harper, the missing girl, barely alive. Sheriff Elias Crawford knew this wasn't an accident. What secrets had Whisper uncovered in the Wyoming wilderness? And what dark truths would unravel, connecting a powerful billionaire to a hidden crime ring? Hold your breath as loyalty, courage, and mystery collide. Would you follow a horse into danger? Comment below, hit subscribe, and join us on this heart-racing journey. A brisk autumn wind swept across Silver Creek, Wyoming, carrying with it whispers of the coming winter. The skies overhead were an endless canvas of slate-gray clouds, thick and low, pregnant with rain, yet hesitant to release it. The scent of damp earth and distant pine permeated the air, intertwining with the subtle, musky aroma of horses that always hung around the famed Mustang racing grounds just outside of town. Today had started like any other race day. The stands bustled with excited locals, their jackets zipped tight against the chill, hats pulled low, eyes fixed eagerly on the dirt track. Betting slips rustled between fingers, whispers of wagers mingling with the clink of coffee cups. Even amid the cheerful hum, there was a palpable tension, an anticipation, a thrill that always accompanied the wild races. Elias Crawford leaned against the wooden railing near the finish line, his sharp blue eyes carefully scanning the bustling crowd and the energetic horses. Elias, the sheriff of Silver Creek, had the calm presence of someone accustomed to responsibility. At 42, he retained the disciplined stance of his military past, tall and lean, his dark hair flecked with streaks of silver, hinting at years shaped by duty rather than time alone. A faded scar, thin and pale, cut across his left brow, a daily reminder of a past mission gone wrong, one that had cost more than physical injury. His sister Rebecca had vanished that same day years ago, a wound in Elias's soul that never healed. His quiet, observant nature concealed this inner turmoil well, yet those close to him sensed the weight he silently bore. Suddenly, an unusual commotion rippled through the crowd. Voices raised, fingers pointed, and a collective gasp traveled like lightning down the grandstand. Elias straightened immediately, instincts alert. Emerging from the shadows at the far end of the dusty track was a solitary horse. It wasn't one of the sleek thoroughbreds groomed meticulously for today's races. Instead, it was a wild Mustang known to locals as Whisper, a creature as enigmatic as the Wyoming wilderness itself. Whisper was a legend in Silver Creek, a Mustang whose coat was a shimmering shade of dark chestnut, interspersed with a flowing mane of ebony black. Deep scars traced his muscular flanks, marking his history of survival and conflict. Whisper was a large stallion, fiercely intelligent, stubborn, and wary of humans, respected for his independence, yet also admired for occasional acts of uncanny intuition. Now, however, Whisper appeared broken, his powerful stride faltering. Blood stained his legs and sides, drying into dark, haunting streaks against his sleek coat. His breathing came in heavy, ragged gasps. But it was not the horse alone that stole Elias's breath. Draped across Whisper's broad back was a small, limp form, a girl no older than 9. Her pale blonde hair was matted with dirt and blood, her thin body lifeless against Whisper's powerful muscles. "Oh my God, it's Annie Harper," someone shouted from the stands. Elias's heart thudded violently against his ribcage. Annie Harper had been missing for 2 days, her disappearance plunging Silver Creek into fearful whispers. She was a shy, slender child, known for quiet smiles and a fascination with the horses at the stables. Her father, Ben Harper, a mechanic with calloused hands and gentle eyes, had barely slept since her disappearance. Camping at the station pleading for help, his eyes rimmed red with grief and desperation. Without another second's hesitation, Elias vaulted the railing, sprinting toward the faltering horse. As he approached, Whisper's ears flattened slightly, instinctively cautious, but his eyes, a deep, knowing amber, locked onto Elias with a depth that transcended animal instinct. It was almost a plea. "It's all right, Whisper. Easy now," Elias soothed, cautiously extending his hands. His voice held authority, softened by genuine compassion. The horse hesitated only briefly before permitting him closer. Carefully, Elias lifted Annie's frail body from Whisper's back. Her skin was icy, pale beneath the smudges of mud and blood, her pulse faint yet present. Whisper staggered slightly, exhaustion finally overwhelming him as he sank onto the ground, legs trembling beneath his massive frame. Even as he collapsed, Whisper's eyes remained fixed upon Elias, intense and purposeful, as if desperately communicating a hidden truth Elias urgently needed to understand. Paramedics and deputies quickly encircled them, the chaos erupting around Elias as they secured Annie on a stretcher, oxygen mask hastily applied. Elias caught sight of Deputy Jake Mills, young and eager, with sandy hair and freckles splashed across a round face, radioing updates in hurried tones. Martha Reid stood at the edge of the crowd, her dark eyes sharp, analytical behind her glasses, her petite frame wrapped in an oversized coat. Martha, the retired investigative reporter who had recently moved to Silver Creek, carried an air of reserved dignity. Her quiet demeanor masked a formidable intellect and persistent curiosity that missed nothing. "Sheriff," Martha called out softly, stepping closer. Her voice carried a gentleness that masked determination. "I think Whisper's been trying to lead you somewhere." Elias glanced sharply at Martha, nodding slightly, his mind racing through possibilities. "I was thinking the same thing." Meanwhile, Whisper breathed heavily on the dirt, his gaze unwavering. Elias knelt beside the fallen horse, gently touching his flank. Whisper flinched but tolerated the contact, a silent understanding forming between man and animal. The sheriff's thoughts spun. Annie had disappeared from school 2 days prior, allegedly picked up by a relative, but no relative had done so. Ben had been frantic, desperate for answers. Elias had combed every known trail and route, interviewed countless neighbors, yet had been Whisper, this enigmatic wild stallion, who found and returned her. Suddenly, a deep chill traced down Elias's spine as the weight of the mystery pressed harder. Whisper had not simply stumbled upon Annie. He had fought through injuries and exhaustion to deliver her directly into Elias's hands. This was no ordinary rescue. Whisper was communicating something urgent and terrifyingly critical. Elias stood slowly, looking around at the anxious faces. "Secure Whisper. Keep him safe," he commanded softly, a tone brooking no argument. "And let's find out exactly where he came from." The crowd watched silently as Whisper was carefully led away by the stable hands. The stallion gave Elias one last penetrating glance. Deep amber eyes holding secrets Elias now knew he must unravel at any cost. Rain finally broke from the clouds, gently at first, then with steady insistence, washing away the dust and blood, but not the unanswered questions now haunting Elias's thoughts. Turning his collar up against the chill, Elias Crawford knew instinctively that Annie's return was only the beginning. Whisper had brought him far more than a missing child. He had opened a door to something darker and deeper within Silver Creek. Elias Crawford leaned back heavily in his worn office chair, surrounded by piles of documents illuminated by the dim, flickering bulb overhead. The Silver Creek Sheriff's Office, located in an aging brick building near the heart of the town, exuded quiet solitude, interrupted only by the faint hum of the outdated coffee machine. Elias rubbed his tired eyes, thoughts heavy with unanswered questions. Annie Harper had been safely returned, but remained unconscious at Silver Creek Medical Center, her parents glued anxiously to her bedside. Whisper, the wounded Mustang, had been moved into the private stable owned by veterinarian Lucas Donovan. Lucas Donovan was relatively new to Silver Creek, having arrived barely 2 years ago after inheriting his late uncle's veterinary practice. Tall and broad-shouldered, Lucas moved with a quiet confidence, softened by his gentle manner with animals. His tousled, dark blonde hair framed expressive hazel eyes, which held a kindness forged by years spent caring for wounded creatures. People in town admired Lucas for his calm demeanor and trustworthiness. Yet, Elias had noticed a certain guardedness in Lucas, as though he, too, carried his own hidden scars beneath the peaceful exterior. A soft knock on the office door brought Elias sharply back to the present. Martha Reid entered quietly, her small frame enveloped in a thick, navy wool coat, dampened by the evening drizzle outside. Beneath her coat, Martha wore a simple cream-colored blouse tucked neatly into high-waisted jeans, giving her the appearance of understated practicality. Her dark, wavy hair was pulled back loosely, framing a face marked by delicate lines hinting at wisdom and perseverance earned from years of tireless journalism. "Sheriff," Martha began, her voice calm yet insistent. "I think we need to talk." Elias gesterte verheert to see, nodding slowly. "I have a feeling you're about to tell me more than just theories, Martha." She adjusted her glasses, her dark eyes intense. "I've spent months quietly collecting records from Silver Creek and neighboring towns. Annie isn't the first child to vanish here. She's just the first to return alive." Elias felt a chill settle deep in his bones. "What exactly are you suggesting?" Martha handed him a carefully organized folder filled with yellowed newspaper clippings, faded photographs, and handwritten notes. Over the last 10 years, more than a dozen children disappeared across this region. Official investigations went nowhere, leads dried up, cases went cold. But I noticed a pattern. Each disappearance coincided with major community events, fairs, rodeos, Mustang races, public gatherings where kids can easily be targeted. Elias skimmed through the materials, his fingers trembling slightly as recognition dawned. Someone's hiding behind these events, targeting our children right beneath our noses. "Yes," Martha replied quietly, her voice steady despite the gravity of her revelation. "And they're very organized. Whoever kidnapped Annie knew exactly how to bypass school security." The secretary at Silver Creek Elementary mentioned a man claiming to be Annie's uncle. She described him as tall, well-dressed, polite, familiar enough with Annie's personal life to appear credible. Elias's mind raced, anger rising. "Annie has no uncle here." "Exactly," Martha said softly. "He's part of a larger network. This is no amateur." Before Elias could reply, a sudden commotion erupted from outside the sheriff's office. The sound of frantic voices mixed with the unmistakable whinnying of a horse echoed through the brick walls. Elias and Martha exchanged urgent glances and hurried outside into the chilly drizzle. There, beneath the sputtering streetlights, whispers strained desperately against Lucas Donovan's firm yet gentle grip, his bandaged wounds still visible beneath the streetlights. Lucas's voice, typically soothing and steady, carried tension Elias had never heard before. "What's going on?" Elias demanded, approaching swiftly. Lucas turned toward Elias, his usually calm eyes now clouded with confusion. Whisper woke suddenly. "Sheriff." He was frantic, agitated, trying to break loose. "He forced open his stall and practically dragged me here. It's like he's desperate to show us something." As if sensing Elias's arrival, Whisper quieted slightly, his muscular body trembling beneath dark chestnut from matted by rain. His amber eyes, sharp and unyielding, stared directly into Elias's own, clearly communicating urgency and fear. Elias nodded grimly, recognizing Whisper's determination. "Let him lead us." With Lucas guiding Whisper gently, Elias and Martha followed the determined stallion as he surged forward into the shadows beyond the stables. Elias's flashlight pierced the thickening darkness, rain now falling steadily, mingling with the dense fog that hugged the ground. Whisper moved confidently, hooves splashing through shallow puddles, ears pricked forward, unwavering. Lucas walked closely beside the horse, his posture protective. Martha followed quietly, absorbing every detail, sensing the gravity of their discovery. After several tense minutes, Whisper halted abruptly at the edge of a dense pine thicket, nostrils flaring, ears swiveling attentively. Elias cautiously stepped forward, shining his flashlight across tangled branches and fallen logs until its beam caught something metallic. Carefully approaching, he brushed away damp foliage, revealing a discarded bracelet, delicate silver twisted around tiny initials, H. Elias's breath caught sharply. "This is Annie's bracelet. She wore it the day she disappeared." Martha took careful photographs with her phone, eyes narrowed in focused determination. "We need to comb this entire area thoroughly. Whoever took her brought her through here." Elias's mind buzzed with questions. Whisper had led them here intentionally. This was no coincidence. This animal had displayed an almost human-like ability to communicate, a silent guardian determined to see justice served. Elias glanced toward Lucas, noting the quiet veterinarian's troubled expression. "Lucas," Elias ventured, sensing hidden turmoil. "What aren't you telling me?" Lucas sighed deeply, avoiding Elias's gaze momentarily. "Whisper belonged to my uncle before I arrived. He found him injured years ago, nursing him back to health. Whisper always showed extraordinary intelligence. My uncle was convinced he could understand more than any normal horse." Elias exchanged a startled glance with Martha. Lucas continued reluctantly. "Before my uncle passed, Whisper began displaying unusual behaviors, restlessness, anxiety, attempts to lead us into the woods. I didn't understand then, dismissed it as grief for losing his caretaker. Now, I see he was trying to warn us." Elias placed a reassuring hand on Lucas's shoulder. "Your uncle was right. Whisper is leading us toward answers. Keep trusting him." Lucas nodded gratefully, relief evident. Whisper, calmer now, leaned affectionately into Lucas, their bond deepening visibly before Elias's eyes. Returning to his office later that evening, Elias sat heavily at his cluttered desk. Martha had gone home, promising continued investigation, and Lucas had returned Whisper safely to the stables. Alone, Elias reviewed Martha's notes meticulously, anxiety gripping his chest tightly. A sinister force had long operated undetected beneath the friendly facade of Silver Creek. Annie's miraculous rescue had cracked open a hidden darkness, a truth Elias felt duty-bound to uncover fully. Elias glanced toward his office wall, eyes lingering briefly on a faded photograph. Rebecca, smiling brightly beside a younger Elias, their joy captured permanently, frozen before tragedy struck. This fight was personal. Annie's abduction had awakened old demons, reminding Elias vividly of the pain he'd endured when Rebecca disappeared. Now, Elias vowed silently, he would not rest until justice was served for every lost child of Silver Creek. Morning arrived, shrouded in mist, turning the forest surrounding Silver Creek into a scene from an ancient legend. Pale sunlight filtered weakly through towering pines, casting soft beams onto dew-soaked leaves. Elias Crawford tightened his jacket against the chill as he followed Whisper's deliberate hoofprints deeper into the dense woodland, accompanied closely by Lucas Donovan, the quiet veterinarian. Lucas wore a rugged canvas jacket and dark jeans, practical attire matched with sturdy boots suited to the rugged terrain. His normally composed face was shadowed by fatigue, accentuating the intensity behind his hazel eyes as they pressed onward. Whisper moved silently, yet confidently ahead, his steps purposeful, occasionally pausing to ensure the two men kept pace. "I still don't understand how Whisper knows exactly where to lead us," Lucas murmured, eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Elias glanced toward Whisper, watching the Mustang's muscular frame gracefully navigate fallen logs and hidden tree roots. "He has instincts that go beyond anything I've ever seen. It's almost as if someone trained him specifically for this." Lucas sighed, nodding silently. He seemed to carry more weight on his broad shoulders today, a burden Elias couldn't quite decipher. The veterinarian's past was a quiet mystery, his words always measured, as if protecting something deeply personal. Elias had never pressed further, respecting Lucas's quiet privacy, though curiosity nagged at him. Their thoughts were abruptly interrupted when Whisper froze, ears alert, nostrils flaring. The Mustang emitted a low, cautious whinny, signaling Elias and Lucas to halt immediately. Ahead, partially obscured by overgrown vegetation, stood the entrance to a concealed bunker, its aged metal door rusted, blending into shadows. Elias approached slowly, every muscle tense with anticipation. Drawing his flashlight, he illuminated the battered lock and hinges, noting recent signs of disturbance. Fresh scratches, displaced leaves, subtle indicators someone had recently accessed the bunker. "Someone's been here recently," Elias whispered, heart pounding. "Stay close." Lucas moved protectively beside Whisper, his expression darkening with apprehension. Whisper's eyes locked onto Elias's, conveying silent urgency before a sudden rustling in nearby bushes alerted them to danger. Elias spun instinctively, raising his flashlight like a weapon. From the shadows emerged a large, heavily built man, his face obscured beneath a dark hooded sweatshirt. He lunged toward Elias without hesitation, gripping a metal pipe raised aggressively. Elias stumbled backward, slipping slightly on damp leaves, momentarily vulnerable. The attacker raised the weapon, preparing to strike, but Whisper charged forward furiously, colliding heavily into the assailant. The hooded figure crashed painfully onto the forest floor, crying out sharply. Whisper stood defiantly between Elias and their attacker, ears flattened, teeth bared menacingly. Lucas quickly helped Elias upright, both men staring warily as their assailant scrambled to his feet and fled swiftly through the dense foliage. Elias patted Whisper gratefully, heart racing. "You saved me again, boy," he breathed softly. Whisper's breathing gradually calmed, yet his gaze never strayed from the bunker. Understanding the Mustang's intent, Elias and Lucas cautiously approached the bunker door, this time managing to pry it open with combined force. Inside, darkness stretched endlessly, swallowing their flashlight beams. The air smelled damp, tinged with mildew and something vaguely metallic, an unsettling aroma. Stepping down cautiously, Elias and Lucas found themselves within a narrow, concrete-walled passageway lined with crates and rusted equipment. Scattered maps and photographs pinned haphazardly to a board depicted the town of Silver Creek, its surrounding forests, and alarmingly detailed information about local children, including Annie Harper. Elias's pulse quickened in anger and dread. "This isn't random," he whispered harshly. "They've been observing these kids, tracking routines." Suddenly, the quiet crunching of leaves announced another presence approaching above ground. Elias swiftly signaled Lucas to silence, extinguishing their flashlights. Whisper remained motionless at the bunker entrance, tension evident in his stance. Heavy footsteps descended slowly, confidently. The beam of a powerful flashlight illuminated the room, finally revealing the identity of their unexpected visitor. Marcus Thorne, Silver Creek's influential billionaire and patron of the Mustang races. Marcus was a tall, imposing figure, impeccably dressed despite the surroundings. His thick silver hair was combed perfectly back, and his steely gray eyes radiated cool authority. Marcus projected confidence effortlessly, his charismatic veneer disguising ruthless ambition known widely in the competitive circles of Silver Creek. "Sheriff Crawford," Marcus greeted smoothly, his voice resonating with casual superiority. "Quite resourceful of you to find this place so quickly." Elias glared sharply, barely restraining his fury. "Marcus, care to explain this?" Marcus smiled faintly, utterly unperturbed. "A misunderstanding, Sheriff. A private security measure. We've experienced numerous threats against my racing events lately." "Threats?" Lucas interjected skeptically, incredulous. "You have detailed information on local children here." Marcus waved dismissively, demeanor unshaken. "Community protection, I assure you. I employed diligent security teams to keep our town safe. If anything, Sheriff, you should appreciate my efforts." Elias stepped forward aggressively, eyes narrowed suspiciously. "Your associate just attacked us. Marcus feigned surprise convincingly, though his eyes flickered briefly. I have no associates here. Perhaps a vagrant seeking shelter. I'll instruct my security to double their vigilance. Silence stretched tautly between them. Elias sensed Marcus's lies plainly, yet the man's power and influence shielded him expertly. Marcus's gaze settled thoughtfully upon Whisper, curiosity briefly softening his composed facade. That's quite a remarkable animal you have there, Marcus noted appreciatively. Such instincts could prove valuable. I'd pay handsomely to acquire him. Lucas immediately stepped protectively in front of Whisper, eyes blazing defiantly. Whisper is not for sale. Marcus chuckled lightly, unoffended. A shame. Perhaps another time. Now, if you gentlemen will excuse me. Marcus retreated confidently into daylight, leaving Elias and Lucas alone amid shadows and unanswered questions. Once safely distant, Elias turned urgently toward Lucas. He's hiding something significant. Lucas, Elias insisted grimly. Marcus isn't here by chance. Lucas nodded gravely, placing a reassuring hand gently upon Whisper's flank. Whisper knew precisely who the threat was. Elias scanned the collected evidence rapidly, carefully photographing each map and image. Marcus's involvement profoundly complicated everything. Elias had known Marcus for years, tolerated his arrogant influence in exchange for economic benefits brought by Mustang races. Now, realizing Annie's disappearance linked directly to this man, Elias faced a stark moral reckoning. Finally, emerging from the oppressive bunker into misty daylight, Elias breathed deeply, air chilling his lungs, yet sharpening his resolve. He glanced toward Whisper, whose alert, intelligent eyes watched him knowingly. Together, they had uncovered more than just a hidden bunker. They had exposed the depth of corruption festering secretly beneath Silver Creek's tranquil surface. As Elias walked back toward town, determination burned fiercely within him. Whisper's bravery had illuminated the true adversary. Now, Elias vowed silently, he would confront Marcus Thorne directly, regardless of consequences awaiting him. Darkness enveloped Silver Creek, bringing an eerie quiet to the normally bustling town. Elias Crawford parked his old pickup truck on the outskirts of Marcus Thorne's sprawling estate, the headlights extinguished as he sat motionless, contemplating his next move. Cold sweat beaded his forehead despite the autumn chill, his hands gripping the steering wheel with tense determination. For years, he had avoided confronting memories of loss and failure, fears now resurfacing with bitter clarity. Yet tonight, he had no choice but to face them head-on. Elias glanced at the faded photograph taped to his dashboard. Rebecca, his younger sister, smiled brightly beside him, eternally young. Losing her had shattered his world, filling him with guilt that never truly dissipated. Now, imagining the same fate befalling other innocent children forced him into action. His phone buzzed softly, startling him. It was Martha Reid. Her voice, steady and determined, immediately eased some tension. "Sheriff," Martha spoke quickly, urgency clear. "I've compiled substantial evidence linking Marcus directly to multiple kidnappings. He's systematically targeted children at community events for years. Annie was merely the latest victim. I've sent copies of everything to the FBI and state police, but I fear waiting might cost more innocent lives." Elias closed his eyes briefly, her words fueling resolve. "Then I won't wait," he replied firmly. "Marcus's estate could be holding more kids right now. I need you ready with backup. Just give me an hour." "Be careful, Elias," Martha cautioned, her voice softening momentarily. "Marcus is dangerous. He's powerful enough to destroy lives without remorse." Elias sighed deeply. "I understand the risk, but these kids have no one else right now. Trust me, Martha, I won't let fear stop me again." Ending the call, Elias slipped quietly from his vehicle, shadows embracing him immediately. Thorne's mansion loomed ominously on the hill, its illuminated windows glowing softly through the dense night fog. Heart pounding, Elias moved stealthily through thick hedges, determined to penetrate the fortress that concealed such dark secrets. At the mansion's rear gate stood a guard, a young man barely into his 20s. Elias observed from his hiding spot, noting the boy's anxious, shifting, and occasional glances at his phone. Quietly stepping closer, Elias swiftly caught him from behind, placing one hand firmly over his mouth. "Listen carefully," Elias whispered sternly. "I don't want to hurt you. Tell me quietly, are there children held here?" The young guard trembled slightly, eyes wide with fright beneath messy brown hair. "Please, sir, I don't know much," he stammered nervously. They brought in 2 kids yesterday. Locked them down in the cellar. I swear I didn't know." "Give me the keys," Elias demanded softly, yet forcefully, heart racing. The guard nodded frantically, handing over keys from his pocket. Elias bound him gently, yet securely, leaving him safely hidden among the shrubs. Then, silently slipping inside, Elias carefully navigated winding corridors richly decorated with antique furniture and costly paintings, symbols of Marcus's wealth, now meaningless to Elias as he sought the cellar door. Descending stone steps cautiously, he encountered a thick iron door at the bottom, locked securely. Elias swiftly tested keys until one finally clicked. Inside, dim lighting revealed 2 frightened children. One boy around 11, small and slender, eyes large and haunted. Beside him sat a younger girl, perhaps 8, dark hair tangled and tear-streaked face pale with fear. Elias knelt immediately, softening his voice reassuringly. "My name's Elias Crawford. I'm here to get you out. You're safe now." Both children stared hesitantly, uncertain. The boy finally nodded slightly, offering his trembling hand. "I'm Liam," he whispered shakily, voice barely audible. "This is Katie. Can you really help us?" Elias gently squeezed Liam's hand reassuringly. "Absolutely, but we must move quickly." Just as they prepared to ascend, heavy footsteps echoed sharply above, drawing closer. Elias quickly shielded Liam and Katie behind him as Marcus Thorne himself appeared, flanked by 2 imposing guards. Marcus smiled icily, his impeccable suit and neatly groomed silver hair contrasting with the basement's grim surroundings. His gray eyes, coldly calculating, locked onto Elias. "Sheriff Crawford, I underestimated your boldness," Marcus remarked calmly. "But surely you realize this ends badly for you." Elias straightened, defiance radiating from him. "You won't hurt another child, Marcus." Marcus chuckled softly, unfazed. "You misunderstand entirely. These children are commodities, valuable assets. Nothing more." Elias clenched his fists angrily. "Their innocence, Marcus, human lives. How can you sleep at night?" Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly, his smile evaporating into cold disdain. "Morality is relative, Sheriff. I sleep quite comfortably." Suddenly, from upstairs came a loud, crashing noise, voices shouting urgently. Backup had arrived earlier than expected. Marcus momentarily distracted, Elias lunged forward, grappling fiercely with the nearest guard. Chaos erupted instantly, blows exchanged rapidly in confined quarters. Marcus attempted retreating hastily upstairs amidst confusion, but Elias blocked his path fiercely. No escape this time. Elias growled through clenched teeth, grabbing Marcus roughly by the collar. "You're finished." Marcus struggled briefly before surrendering, realizing defeat inevitable. Elias dragged him upstairs, heart surging triumphantly as FBI agents and local deputies streamed inside, securing the premises swiftly. Outside, Lucas Donovan appeared alongside Martha Reid, both visibly relieved yet concerned. Whisper stood close beside Lucas, restless yet calm in his presence, instinctively sensing danger passing. "Elias." Martha hurried toward him anxiously. "Are you hurt?" He shook his head reassuringly, bruised but otherwise unharmed. "Thanks to your quick thinking, Martha, we got here in time." Lucas glanced cautiously toward Marcus as agents led him away handcuffed, disgust clear on the veterinarian's usually calm features. "Will these children be all right?" Lucas asked quietly, worry evident. Elias looked gently toward Liam and Katie, now safe under police care. They'll need time and support, but they're safe now. That's what matters most. Whisper moved forward slowly, gently nuzzling Elias's shoulder affectionately, acknowledging his bravery. Elias smiled gratefully, patting Whisper's powerful neck softly. Martha approached Elias, speaking softly. There's more you need to see. Marcus kept detailed logs of every child abducted. This was bigger than we imagined. Elias breathed deeply, knowing challenges remained ahead. Yet tonight marked victory against overwhelming darkness. He turned resolutely toward Martha and Lucas, newfound strength radiating outward. Whatever happens next, we'll face it together, Elias vowed firmly, glancing warmly toward Whisper. Silver Creek deserves justice and peace. As authorities continued gathering evidence beneath mansion lights, Elias reflected silently upon everything risked tonight. Fear confronted boldly, lives saved courageously. Perhaps now, finally, old wounds within could truly begin healing. The midnight moon bathed Marcus Thorne's estate in ghostly silver hues, its pale glow casting elongated shadows that danced ominously across the manicured gardens and marble statues. Inside the mansion's grand library, Sheriff Elias Crawford sat bound tightly to an ornate chair, coarse ropes cutting painfully into his wrists. Blood trickled down his forehead, warm and stinging, as the throbbing from a fresh wound blurred his vision momentarily. Elias gritted his teeth, swallowing the metallic tang of pain and defiance. His breath steamed faintly in the cool, dimly lit room, its walls lined from floor to ceiling with leather-bound volumes and priceless artifacts, luxuries purchased with innocent lives. Marcus stood silently by the tall windows, staring contemplatively outward, his silhouette sharply outlined against the illuminated night sky. His tailored black suit remained impeccable, silver hair swept neatly back, yet an underlying tension marked his otherwise calm demeanor. Finally, he turned, gray eyes glittering coldly beneath the soft chandelier light. "You never disappoint, Elias," Marcus mused smoothly, his voice deceptively mild. "Yet your persistence has become problematic." Elias glared fiercely, ignoring his own exhaustion. "It's over, Marcus. Martha's evidence is already in federal hands. They know everything. Your hidden network, the children you've stolen." Marcus smiled faintly, an eerie calm enveloping him. "Evidence can vanish. Witnesses can be silenced. Wealth buys many things: loyalty, discretion, even freedom." Elias's pulse quickened angrily, fists clenched tight behind him. "Your money won't save you this time." Marcus chuckled softly, stepping casually forward until his polished shoes brushed Elias's scuffed boots. Such admirable optimism. "But tell me, Sheriff, who will save you?" As Marcus signaled toward the shadows, two imposing guards emerged, faces expressionless, muscular frames encased in dark clothing. Elias recognized one as Dean Riker, Marcus's chief of security, tall and broad-shouldered, with short-cropped hair and merciless brown eyes. The second guard was younger, shorter, his nervous eyes darting uncomfortably. They silently took position, awaiting Marcus's orders. "Take him downstairs and dispose of him discreetly," Marcus instructed calmly, voice devoid of emotion. "Then move the children immediately. This location is compromised." Dean nodded sharply, pulling Elias roughly upright. Elias struggled violently but futilely, ropes biting deeper into his flesh as the men dragged him toward the hallway. Desperation surged within him, thoughts racing chaotically. He'd failed, allowed himself to be captured, endangered innocent lives yet again. His mind flashed briefly to Rebecca's smile, memory stabbing painfully. He'd sworn never to lose another person entrusted to him. Suddenly, the mansion erupted with an ear-splitting crash, echoing violently from the foyer. Dean halted abruptly, exchanging startled glances with the younger guard. Marcus's composure faltered momentarily, eyes narrowing suspiciously as he strode swiftly toward the commotion. Dean hesitated, uncertain whether to follow orders or confront the immediate threat. From beyond the shattered foyer doors burst Whisper, muscles rippling powerfully beneath his glossy chestnut coat, eyes blazing amber fury. The Mustang charged forward fearlessly, hooves striking marble with thunderous force, scattering Marcus's startled staff and guards like frightened birds. Chaos erupted instantly, frantic shouts mingling with panicked footsteps echoing through once serene corridors. Seizing this momentary distraction, Elias summoned hidden strength, driving his shoulder forcefully into Dean, knocking him backward into ornate shelving, priceless porcelain smashing upon impact. With adrenaline-fueled determination, Elias freed himself from loosened ropes, lunging desperately toward Whisper. Whisper's fierce gaze met Elias's briefly, silent communication passing swiftly between them. Elias vaulted onto the Mustang's sturdy back, fingers gripping the horse's mane tightly as Whisper raced urgently through mansion halls toward muffled cries emanating from hidden rooms below. The sounds led them downward, into dimly lit chambers beneath the mansion, where frightened children sat huddled, wide-eyed and trembling. "Everyone quickly, upstairs," Elias commanded urgently, heart racing fiercely. "Follow Whisper. He'll guide you safely out." Children scrambled hastily upward, following Whisper's reassuring presence. Elias remained behind momentarily, ensuring none remained forgotten or trapped. Suddenly, footsteps approached rapidly, Marcus appearing at basement entrance flanked by Dean and several guards. Marcus's face contorted briefly with controlled rage. "You won't ruin everything, Elias." "You ruined yourself, Marcus," Elias retorted defiantly. Justice finally caught up. Marcus sneered contemptuously, eyes gleaming dangerously. "Justice is weak, power endures." Before Marcus's guards could act, distant sirens wailed sharply outside, blue and red lights pulsating vividly through basement windows. FBI agents stormed swiftly into the mansion, coordinated precisely through Martha's urgent communication. Marcus's eyes widened briefly in shock, realizing defeat unavoidable. Dean immediately dropped his weapon, surrendering expressionlessly. Marcus merely smiled enigmatically, calmly raising his hands in calculated submission as agents swiftly arrested him. Agent Cassidy Monroe led FBI operations tonight, a capable woman in her mid-30s, blonde hair tied neatly back, serious blue eyes scanning surroundings thoroughly. She nodded appreciatively toward Elias, admiration briefly visible in her normally stern expression. "Sheriff Crawford, impressive work," Cassidy acknowledged sincerely. "Your friend Martha Reid provided exceptional evidence. Marcus won't escape justice now." Elias exhaled shakily, adrenaline gradually fading into profound exhaustion yet deep relief. Outside, Whisper stood protectively among rescued children, watchful, gentle, noble presence providing comfort amid confusion and fear. Lucas Donovan arrived quickly, anxiously assessing Whisper's minor injuries sustained during daring rescue. Lucas's gentle hands stroked Whisper's powerful neck affectionately, deep relief softening normally reserved expression. Martha approached Elias quietly, dark eyes intense yet filled with gratitude and pride. "We succeeded," Martha whispered emotionally, carefully gripping Elias's bruised hand reassuringly. "You overcame fears, risked everything courageously." Elias smiled faintly, exhaustion etched deeply, yet peaceful resolution finally evident. "Because you believed, Martha. Together, Silver Creek can finally heal." Yet as Marcus passed calmly beside them under FBI custody, his chillingly enigmatic smile lingered, haunting, unsettling. Elias's instincts warned Marcus concealed dangerous secrets still, threads unseen, yet potentially devastating if ignored. Agent Monroe approached thoughtfully. "We'll thoroughly interrogate Marcus. He won't threaten anyone again." Elias nodded soberly, yet unease persisted faintly beneath victorious relief. Whisper stepped gently toward Elias, offering reassuring comfort. Elias's gaze softened gratefully, sensing Whisper understood lingering uncertainty, yet affirmed courage necessary to confront darkness unflinchingly. Tonight marked decisive victory over immediate threats, though Elias instinctively sensed battles remained unfinished. Marcus's secretive confidence troubled Elias deeply, warning their hard-won peace remained precariously fragile. Yet witnessing Silver Creek united courageously tonight renewed Elias's faith profoundly. Together, light could inevitably triumph over darkest shadows still looming dangerously near. Silver Creek gradually breathed a collective sigh of relief as sunlight finally warmed the streets, pushing back the shadows that had lingered too long. Elias Crawford stood by the stable's open doorway, hands tucked thoughtfully into his faded denim jacket pockets, watching Whisper graze peacefully in the morning sun. The Mustang's wounds had healed remarkably well under the watchful care Elias and Lucas Donovan had provided over the past week. Whisper moved fluidly, muscular shoulders rippling beneath a now glossy, healthy chestnut coat, his once troubled amber eyes softening with calm and trust. Lucas approached quietly, carrying a bucket filled with oats. The veterinarian's typically reserved face softened into an easy smile as Whisper trotted gently toward him, nickering softly. Lucas's gentle hands rubbed the Mustang's powerful neck affectionately, quietly reassuring the animal of safety. Elias observed this bond silently, gratitude filling him. Whisper had earned peace, as had they all, at least temporarily. Annie Harper had returned home safely, her parents embracing her tearfully. The Harper family's modest house at the edge of town, painted pale blue with white trim, now resonated with laughter instead of anxious silence. Other rescued children had also reunited joyfully with relieved parents, slowly mending lives torn cruelly apart by Marcus Thorne's sinister network. Elias, however, felt a lingering unease, a quiet voice whispering to him that true resolution remained elusive. Martha Reid appeared quietly beside Elias, her petite figure wrapped in a soft, cream-colored cardigan against the chill morning breeze, dark hair pulled loosely back, thoughtful brown eyes studying his expression carefully. Martha had grown even more respected among townspeople following revelations she courageously helped uncover. Yet her eyes reflected lingering concern today. "Elias," Martha began hesitantly, pulling a sealed envelope from her pocket. "I discovered something you must see." It was hidden among Marcus's personal effects seized by the FBI. Elias took the envelope cautiously, noting familiar handwriting instantly. Rebecca's handwriting, delicate loops unmistakably hers. His breath halted momentarily, heartbeat quickening anxiously as memories surged vividly forward. Carefully, hands trembling slightly, Elias opened the envelope, removing Rebecca's letter and a small pendant necklace. A simple silver horse engraved with intricate detail, identical to one Rebecca had always worn proudly. He read slowly, pulse racing, heart aching deeply as Rebecca's words filled his vision. "Dear Elias, if you find this, please forgive me for disappearing so suddenly. They took me, Elias. I discovered terrible truths about Marcus Thorne and his allies, and they caught me before I could reach you. I'm alive, held captive far from Silver Creek, hidden deeply within Marcus's network. Whisper was mine, brother. Trust him as you trusted me. He will guide you to me. Don't give up. With all my love, Rebecca." Elias sank slowly onto a hay bale, breath shaky, Rebecca's pendant gripped tightly in his fist. Martha knelt gently beside him, silent support radiating from her compassionate gaze. Tears blurred Elias's vision briefly before resolve hardened fiercely within his chest. Rebecca, alive, imprisoned for years. This revelation changed everything profoundly. He lifted eyes toward Whisper, the Mustang's intelligent gaze fixed directly upon Elias, recognition shining clearly within amber depths. Whisper stepped carefully forward, gently nuzzling Elias's shoulder, a quiet yet powerful affirmation. Elias exhaled deeply, emotions roiling intensely, yet newfound determination igniting within his core. Whisper had never appeared by chance. This Mustang had come seeking Elias purposefully, guided silently by Rebecca's unseen hand. Martha spoke softly, breaking Elias's profound silence gently. Rebecca always believed deeply in your courage, Elias. She knew you'd never abandon hope. Elias met Martha's understanding gaze gratefully, nodding firmly. She's right. I'll never stop searching until Rebecca's home safely again. Lucas approached slowly, quiet understanding evident on his calm features. Whisper brought Rebecca's message. He'll lead you directly to her, Lucas assured gently yet confidently. We'll help however you need us. Elias stood slowly, strength returning steadily, resolve deepening. Thank you, Lucas, Martha. This journey won't be easy, but together, perhaps Silver Creek can finally reclaim peace fully. Whisper shifted restlessly, eyes turning toward distant hills, ears pricked alertly forward, as though already sensing their destination. Elias smiled faintly, gently stroking Whisper's sleek neck thoughtfully. Whisper had bravely guided Elias through darkest moments already, now prepared to confront shadows lingering still deeper. Elias carefully placed Rebecca's silver horse pendant around his neck, her cherished symbol of courage now his steadfast companion. Lucas stepped forward decisively. Already the gear we need. Whisper will lead. We'll follow wherever he takes us. Martha's eyes sparkled determinedly. I'll contact Cassidy Monroe at the FBI. With Marcus behind bars, she'll support our continued investigation fully. As they stood together beneath warm morning sunlight, Elias felt courageously optimistic, hope tempered by understanding challenges yet ahead. Whisper's steady presence reassured Elias profoundly, affirming purpose guiding every step forward. Rebecca's survival had shifted perspectives entirely, revealing darker conspiracies, yet also igniting brighter hopes. Elias inhaled deeply, savoring briefly this peaceful moment, understanding deeply another challenging journey awaited, yet no longer fearing it. Marcus's sinister secrets stretched farther than imagined, but together Silver Creek possessed strength enough to confront darkness courageously. Whisper would faithfully guide their steps, Rebecca's enduring courage illuminating paths toward ultimate reunion. Rebecca, Elias whispered emotionally, determination radiating firmly, we're coming. Beneath peaceful skies, amid hopeful whispers shared softly among friends and allies, Silver Creek prepared courageously for battles yet unfinished. United hearts promising unwavering loyalty throughout shadows awaiting discovery ahead. Elias Crawford, strengthened profoundly by rediscovered hope and newfound clarity, embraced responsibilities willingly now awaiting him. Whisper, trusted companion guiding faithfully, waited patiently beside Elias, amber eyes bright with quiet understanding. Both ready courageously facing uncertainties confidently, pursuing paths illuminated clearly toward brighter futures yet ahead. For Rebecca, for Silver Creek itself, their journey continued resolutely forward, hearts united firmly in courageous purpose. And together, beneath hopeful skies, the town awaited patiently their return home safely, embracing whatever destiny unfolded courageously, each step forward guided steadfastly by whispered promises, enduring powerfully still within peaceful morning air. Life often takes us through challenging journeys, much like Elias Crawford's courageous quest to reunite with his sister. This powerful story reminds us to never lose hope, even when faced with our darkest fears. Just as Whisper guided Elias toward truth and healing, there are unseen forces in our lives gently guiding us towards the light, giving strength in times of need. Have faith because no matter how hidden or uncertain your path may seem, remember, you are never truly alone. If Elias's journey touched your heart today, please share this message with someone you love. Leave a comment below to inspire others, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories. May God bless you and guide you safely through every moment. If you believe in the power of hope and faith, comment amen below.